Can you see me okay? Can you hear me?
Yep, can now.
You can see me?
You see me too.
Okay. As long as everyone can hear me, because I don't speak very loud. That's one of the reasons I had the headphones on. Sorry about if you heard the thumping of the headphones. That's really strange, babe.
You're on.
Okay. I'm going to take this off so I don't get distracted by my own delayed voice. But as long as everybody can hear me, that's why I've got the headphones around my neck for the microphone itself. Okay, so I guess I'll start. Are you still with me, Mima? Stella? Okay, I guess she's sleeping, which is good. Excuse me. Okay, as long as everyone can hear me. I'm sorry, I'm just a tad nervous. I've never done a live before. I'm not used to putting myself out there in that way. I have my iPad on my lap so I can read the questions better. I do have some information. Mima, you asked the perfect question. So I'll start off with yours. When it says, how do you decide if you need a service dog? That depends on every person. Do you think a dog could help in the sense of being physically assistance to you, such as carrying things for you, picking things up that you may have dropped, like your keys, your phone, carry a small bag for you? Service dogs are fantastic for that. I personally don't have Stella pick things up for me because she does so many other things that I don't want to overload her with tasks. Each task is different, and each task is per person. You were saying that your hands aren't very good. My husband also has rheumatoid arthritis, and his hands are horrible. So I get it. Yes, it is very good to have the assistance, especially if you're by yourself a lot. That's one of the reasons I got Stella, is because at the time I didn't know if my husband would need to work still or what was going on, and I hate being by myself due to my PTSD, at least in the house or out in public. So yeah, being by myself just sucks. um, if you feel that this dog, that a dog that can pick things up for you, that can help stabilize you if you're a little bit wobbly with your walk, because sometimes even my husband's legs don't work right with his rheumatoid and other issues. Hi, Roy and Becky. Nice to see you. Aren't you right? Sorry. Okay, so I'm a little bit nervous. Be patient. But if you, Mima, if you truly feel that a dog could be of assistance to you by helping you pick up things, helping stabilize your walking, helping with reminding you even to take medications, helping you if you have anxiety or depression or any of those types of issues. Honestly, a service dog is a godsend. I was 50 when I got Stella. She just turned 3. So I'll be 53 in a few days on the 30th. So, well, 2 weeks. But besides the point. The point is that no matter how old you are, no matter what your lifestyle is, if you feel that your medical or personal or mental issues could be helped by one of these wonderful animals, do it. Honestly, drop everything and do what you can to get one. Yes, anxiety is a huge thing. Anxiety, depression, panic attacks, PTSD, um, autism, hearing, blind, walking stability, medication reminders, agoraphobia. I mean, I had gotten so bad after my father passed that I wouldn't leave the house alone. I wouldn't. I not even to go a minute and a half down the road to to the corner store to pick up smokes or some snack. I was terrified. I just my anxiety level would skyrocket just at the idea of it. So yes, anxiety is a huge one. Anxiety often. Yes, then me, Mom. Depending where you live in the world, I would definitely look into it. Even heart issues as well, Go Hawks, because I mean, with okay, how do I describe this? Okay, see, with Stella, she wasn't trained for heart rate detection or blood pressure detection or migraine detection. I happen to get one of the 15% of dogs who naturally do it, and that's a true blessing because I never paid attention to my heart rate, blood pressure, or the other one that just went poof out of my brain. Sorry about that. Um, but yes, migraines. And every one of those I deal with. The heart rate and the blood pressure is more concerning now because she's brought it to my attention. I never even realized that I was having the issues I'm having until she kept alerting and I couldn't figure out why. I'm glad he survived the heart attack, Nima. I really am. Um, that's a wicked issue. That's one of the reasons I've got Stella. The gentleman who she was intended for had a massive heart attack and couldn't take her at the time. So that's how I got blessed with her. And I'm so forever grateful. No offense to the gentleman. I'm glad he's okay. But yes, the heart issues, they can learn to let you know when your heart rate's too high or too low or too irregular. These animals, I don't know how, but they truly can hear your heart rate and your blood pressure and all of that. Or it's some chemical that we secrete when stuff is going on in that sense. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think science is 100% sure how some of these animals are able to do what they can do. It's sort of us guesstimating because we're not in these animals' brains. We're not in their olfactory system. We're not in the way that their body is made up and the way that their natural instincts are. So, Mima, definitely, if you feel that that a service dog could be of assistance to you or your husband, are you where exactly in the world? Which country are you in, Mima? If I may ask. I know you told me a long time ago, but my brain just doesn't function that way. So I don't remember detail stuff. And how are you, GGM and Roy and Becky? I hope everything's okay with you guys. Roy and Becky Reed. I love that. That tickles me. But okay, well, with service dogs, okay, I'm in a program that I'll read yours in a second, Mima. I'm just going to answer GTM. with the program I'm in, okay, I've got what is called, I'm in the owner trainer program. Okay. An owner trainer program is where you own the dog. You purchase the dog from the breeder yourself, or you already have the dog that you want to train to be your service dog. With the help of a trainer, I have learned to train her to be good out and about so that she behaves herself and isn't causing barking issues, isn't crapping or peeing in malls or restaurants or hotels or emergency rooms or buses or anywhere else. When you train the dog yourself, okay, these dogs learn your body language, your body chemistry. Um, Not every dog is going to be trained exactly the same. Okay, Stella is a PTSD medical alert dog. Okay, so she alerts to my medical issues that are going on inside my body. Plus, she deals with all the crap that goes on up here, thanks to the trauma I dealt with as a child and other issues. But that's besides the point. So every dog, say you've got two PTSD dogs side by side, one for me, one for Tom, Dick, or Harry down the road, and we're standing next to each other. Okay, we could be having similar reactions to something going on. Stella may react by climbing up over my lap and licking my face, where the other person's service dog may come up and start circling them and licking their hand. Okay, so every person uses different alerts for different issues. I originally got Stella because of my PTSD and fibromyalgia. Okay, because I was falling a lot. I can be real tipsy at times. I can get foggy brained. But with my PTSD, I can completely collapse mentally and disassociate from things. And she will deal with that on what works with me and me alone. So every service dog, two diabetic alert dogs are going to be different. Two seeing eye dogs. Well, the seeing eye dogs are pretty much trained exactly the same right across the board. But even if you get a program where they've trained the dog and you receive a dog, say if you have PTSD and you get a program dog that was already trained, fully trained, just coming into your life, that dog will have set routine for every sort of reaction that is typical with PTSD. But because everybody is different, they may learn different like tips and tricks that work for that particular handler. Because everybody's needs are different and succinct. See, when I'm anxious and when I'm stressing out and when I'm nervous, Stella will come up and she'll get right up into my face, not giving me any personal face or any personal face. Sorry, any personal space. It's like she has no clue what personal space means. But that's what I need. I need her to bring me back to where I am and not zone out into la la land or wherever I go when I zone out or when I'm anxious. She helps to ground me. Other PTSD people may need them to to feel guarded when they're in that kind of a situation. So their dog may circle them and just keep circling them until they start to calm down, and then they may do something else. So every single one is different. Okay, are they typically? Yeah, they're when you train a service dog, each alert is different. Okay. Um, a lot of people who have PTSD or anxiety issues will have a service dog do DPT, or deep pressure therapy, which means the dog may lay across their legs or lay across their, like along their bodies, may lay across their feet. Every person is different. Stella will go across my lap usually, even when I'm in the wheelchair. She'll go up and over my lap. But then she's right here in my face. And I mean, I've got to stop her because she gets too pushy at times when I'm really zoning out. So it all depends on each person, and each reaction is different. Same, like I've got the different, taken a bunch of notes. My handwriting sucks, but I took a bunch of notes. I do have a list of different types of service dogs that I'll read off, and as well as for the US, the UK, and Canada. If there's anyone from anywhere else, I can get that information for you and to you, with different service dog companies that you can go through. In the USA, I know that you can do owner trainer, where you can pick your dog and you can pick a trainer and you can train the dog yourself to deal with your issues. There's autism service dogs. Those dogs do have to be very specifically trained. So it's a little different for autism and issues like that. But it all depends on what you're needing the dog for. So yes, in Ohio, I believe, Mima, you could just turn around and get any dog, get a good trainer. For God's sake, find a good trainer, and get them to walk you through, because they can help you do the public access and tests that you need for your local area. Because I believe even in the States, you have to do that at least. Up here in Canada, I went through a company, and each province is different. Just like the States, each state's rules and stipulations and testing is separate. Even though they're very much alike, they're still very separate. In your local area, the best advice I could do is contact one of your better trainers, like most popular trainers in the area, and ask them if they know of any trainers that help people train a dog to become a service dog. Because they can be extremely beneficial. They can help with so much. I mean, with the depressions, they can help with depression, they can help with anxiety, they can help with hearing loss or hearing difficulties. They're diabetic alert dogs, they're seizure alert dogs, seizure response dogs, which are different. And I don't think a lot of people know this, but seizure alert dogs are different from seizure response dogs. And I didn't even know that until I looked it up and went through. So there's a huge difference depending where you are. Hello, Living MN Outdoors. Sorry, it took me a second. This is my first. I'm trying. Where are you exactly, Living MN? Are you in the US or Canada or UK or somewhere else in this lovely planet? Sorry, I'm trying to, so that I might be able to give you a number that you can call, because I do have a phone number for seeing eye dogs in the USA. So if you're in the USA, I could give you that information. Perfect. Do you have someone close by that can write a number down? Because I can give you a phone number and I can also give you the name of the place. Okay? It is, okay, hold on a sec. Oh no, that's a seizure alert, but I do have the address, or the, sorry, for seeing eye dogs. Sorry. There is a little bit of a difference there. So where is it? I have written it down. I am just trying to find it. Okay, so for some strange reason, ouch. Okay. Give me after the live, Emma, and what I'll do is I'll send you that information. Okay, I will get the information together, but definitely the Seeing Eye Dog. There's a guide company in the USA. This was the epilepsy one, which for some reason I thought it was the Seeing Eye Dog phone number, because I have numbers for like 10 different places in the USA. So you're in Minnesota. Is that the, this doesn't say if it's the East Coast, but there's Assistance Dogs International.org. That is all one word right across, okay? There is also Service Dogs Central.org, all one word. That is also in the US of A. There are Canine Partners for Life. Okay, their website is K as in the letter K, 9 as in the number, 4 as in the number, life.org. Okay, there is also 4 Paws for Ability, which is the 4-letter Paws for Ability, all one word again with the 4 in front.org. There is Paws for People.org, which is also another place. Pause with a cause.org. These are all one long word. There's no spaces, no lines, no dots, no dashes, okay? There is pause with a cause.org. These are all US places that you can contact. Assistance Dogs of the West.org. So I believe that's like California, Washington, but I think you can call them no matter where you are or contact them via the internet. There's St. Francis Dogs, which is all one word, .org. Canine for Disabled Kids, okay, .org. This is just Canine for Kids.org. Pre-warning, they are 18 and under. So if you're a person under the age of 18 or need a service dog for a person under the age of 18, I think these would be the best people to contact to try and get a service dog for autism, for any other reasons you may need it. There is Pathways to Hope, which is also one word, .org. And the last one for the USA is Fidos for Freedom.org. And all of those places you can contact and find out what kind of dogs they help with. They may even know of a trainer in your area that may be able to assist you, which is also a very good thing to have. I would like my Great Dane Bulldog mix to be trained. How old is he though, Mima? Because they do suggest that you start the training before they hit 3 years old. Because the older the dog is, the shorter their work life will be. Because most service dogs get retired between the ages of 7 years and 10 years, all depending on what they're being used for. For a mobility dog, it's as soon as their mobility abilities slow down is when they get retired. Yeah, so I would start training him now. Just if he has his basic obedience, and in that sense, you may actually find a trainer in your area that is willing to help you sort of pull him over to that little lump that you may have to go from pet to service dog. If he already has the basic training, like the basic obedience, the sit, the stay, the lay down, all of that sort of stuff. Because with service dogs, they need to be with the handler or under control at all times, no matter where they are. A service dog should be able to be put in a down lay or a down sit in one corner of the store, the handler trucked to the other corner of the store for 5-10 minutes and comes back, and the dog is still in the position they were set in. That's what the goal is for most service dogs and their handlers, is to have a dog that no matter where they are, they're always, always, always under control. They're not barking, they're not lunging, they're not sniffing, they're not going to visit everybody they see. They're constantly looking up at their handlers to check in on them, like Stella when we're out. Even when I'm in my wheelchair or I'm walking, she is constantly double checking, like looking up at me. Whether she's beside me, in front of me, or behind me, she is constantly looking at me to make sure that I'm okay, which is what you want for sure. I'm trying, Living MN. Now I've got a few sites also. Oh, and also, if you're in the USA, do yourself a favor, even before you consider a service dog, go to the website ada.org. Find out the laws and the rights of service dogs and their handlers, because a service dog should be able to go absolutely anywhere outside of a hospital operating room, a laboratory where it has to be sterile. I mean, it's one thing, they can go in where you get your blood drawn, that sort of thing. But in the laboratory where they need sterility, you can't have a service dog. Or like walking into a kitchen in a restaurant. Anywhere that I can go as being a public person, like if I was to go into a restaurant to sit down to have a meal, she can go with me. If I want to go to the mall and pick up some shoes, she can be with me. If I have to go to the hospital for surgery, she can go with me up until they go to take me into the operating room. Then she would have to stay out of the recovery room until I am conscious enough to be able to keep her under control. So a service dog can go absolutely freaking anywhere. Airplane, plane, cab, train, ferry, fishing boat, cruise ship, doesn't matter. If you can go there, the service dog can go with you. Okay, so then if you've got a service dog, you're literally never alone. And I mean, I can't even take a nice little pee by myself. And you don't realize how nice that is sometimes. Okay, so how many service dogs have you guys heard of? Like, put a list about the different types of service dogs you've heard of or have seen yourself. And Mima, I think your boy needs to get a little bit more training, because a service dog can't yank you around. You'll be hollered at for having a fake, sadly. Yeah, Stella was there when I went in for surgery. German Shepherds are fine for service dogs. Basically, any dog, and I mean any dog, that shows a desire to work, that shows a desire to be helpful, that shows, well, basically with Stella, like when I picked Stella up when she was 10 weeks old, I had no clue if she'd make a good service. I'm just turning off my heating pad. I'm getting a little too warm. I had no idea if she would be a service dog in the end. There's no guarantee. When you get a dog, there is absolutely no 100% guarantee that that dog will become a service dog, like a fully functioning, working, loving every minute of it service dog. Okay? Just like I've had whippets for years. I've got my older girl laying here next to me, Gosha. I've had 4 of them over the years since '98. 3 out of my 4 have been therapy dogs, where I could take them into any hospital, any senior facility, or any place like that, to visit people. They were very well grounded. They were very calm dogs. They were very easygoing, very mellow temperament dogs. Well, with Gosha, even though she's still a whippet, she's from a fabulous breeder who I adore. The only issue is she is too high strung and too nervous to safely take into a hospital or a burn unit or a seniors facility because she's too nervous and too jumpy. Chuck is lazy. How lazy, though? So he may not make a good service dog if all he wants to do is sleep 24/7. But if that's all you need is a dog to help pick things up for you, you may still be able to. But you'd have to basically have him temperament tested. My best advice for anybody getting a service dog who is starting, say you're going to do what I did, where you're going to go get a puppy, you're going to raise it, and then at 6 or 7 months old, you're going to start training them to be a service dog. Well, their training can go on for 2+ years. Okay, it's not, 6-month training course and boom, you've got a service dog. I wish it worked that well. Oh, God, I wish it worked that well. We start classes back tomorrow. She's 3. She started at 6 months old. So it takes time. It does take more time than I think a lot of people realize. You have to basically have a dog at the end of the day that you can take down a busy city road and a bus or truck goes by, and yes, they may jump, but they recover quickly. Like they bounce back and they're back on their game very quickly. You don't want a dog who's going to cower and bolt like a bat at a you-know-where to get as far and fast without caring about who you are or what you are. They just want to get away as quick as possible. Those do not make a good service dog. So in that sense, they do have to be temperament tested. You don't want a dog who's going to get snappy when somebody touches their face or touches their tail. Because I don't think people realize this either. When you get a service dog, dear God, this is the one thing that drives me absolutely bat crazy. The drive-by pets. Or the oh, pretty puppy. Those drive me crazy because you'll get somebody. I was walking, I don't remember which store it was, but it was a store that had these really weird aisles. And you had sort of a turnstile you had to go through. And I went through it, no problem. But when you've got somebody who reaches as far as they can to sneak a pet or to grab a tail or to grab an ear of a service dog walking by, and you get that a lot. You get a lot of drive-by pets. Or the sneak pet, which also drives me nuts, because just that light touch that'll startle the dog for one, but could cause that dog to miss the one signal or smell or scent or movement that their handler does that lets them know they need their help. That split second where my dog would turn back could be the split second my body decides to give out and drops to the floor. But because that person had her jump back and look, she wasn't looking at me and paying attention to possibly falling. And a lot of people don't realize how dangerous that can be. No, not Muppet 929. No, those are the program dogs. Like when you would call some of the names that I named earlier, like the Four Paws for Ability. I'm not saying this is their dog, but I'm just saying I'm using them as an example. If you get a program dog from a company like that, then yes, the dog is completely trained, ready to go when you get them. Okay? But I went a different route that's about 15,000 cheaper. And that's where you do the owner trainer program, where you have the help of a trainer and you're doing. Sorry, the Go Hawks is my husband. So you guys can ask him questions too. He can answer as well. But with the. When you do the owner trainer program, you're doing most of the training yourself. Okay, you just have the assistance of classes that you go to, and you have the assistance of trainers that you can contact for help, and they can walk you through different areas. But see, with me, with Stella, the one issue I'm having right now is getting her high heart rate or low heart rate alert to be different from my high or low blood pressure alerts. And from my migraine, because those three together, she does almost the exact same alert for all three, and I'm still trying to teach her the different alerts I want her to use for different issues. So it all depends on the type of service dog you have, whether it's a program service dog or whether it's an owner trainer, which is the owner trains with the help or assistance of a trainer. So it all depends on that in the sense of whether or not the service dog is trained before you get them. Like a seeing eye dog definitely has to be fully trained before you get them. Because a blind person cannot train their dog to miss obstacles like a sighted person may. Okay? Different from a hearing dog. Even a hearing dog. If the owner can't hear something, how are they going to train that dog to hear the things they need? If an owner cannot hear the doorbell, or they cannot hear the phone, or they cannot hear the smoke detector or the fire alarm or a door knock, how are they going to train that service dog to cover those issues that they need help for? Okay, have a good one, Nemo. Thanks for coming. Big hugs. Now, depending on, like for autism service dogs, those dogs are trained per person. My trainer is right now, well, in the last year, has trained an autism service dog for a young girl up island. She's under 10, but she tends to bolt. Like she will take off out of nowhere. She'll be fine and then just and she's gone. That's very dangerous and hot in the areas that they live in. They're out in the sticks, I believe. They're out in an area that's quite far out from a city or town, and the child can get lost very easily. And then there's highways close by for people to go by or to get to them. But if a child bolts in that kind of situation, it's deadly, or can be. And so this pup was trained basically for the parent or the caregiver of this child to hold on to the leash of the dog, and the child wears a belt around her middle. Okay, and the dog, there's a connecting piece from the dog to the back of the belt on the little girl, And if she decides to bolt, this dog is trained to plant his butt and stay planted. And he's probably triple her weight at the moment. So, in that sense, it's very good to have a programmed dog. The three I would suggest you always get a programmed dog would be autism, seeing eye dogs, and hearing dogs. Those are the three that no matter what, I personally, from what I've seen and what I have learned, it's best to get a programmed dog for those three types of situations. Okay? Just because they're much more intense training than what an owner trainer does. See, with Stella, part of the time she's just a pet. She's allowed to wander the house. She's allowed to go be goofy with my son because he roughhouses with her like I can't. And she enjoys her evenings out on the deck with my husband every night. She sits out there for a good half hour every night just while he does his routine outside. And so there are times where she is allowed to be just an everyday, typical four-legged fluff poop machine, which is perfect. But when I need her, you best believe she's at my side. Like she could be at the other end of the house. I could be in the bedroom because of my back. And she's coming back to check me every few minutes. She's in the room with me so she can hear me. She knows when my anxiety starts going and stuff like that. So it's very good to make sure that, for one, depending on what you're needing, like, oh, okay, let's start this. Or I'm going to stop what I'm saying. I'm going to give you the different types of service dogs that I have found. Okay, so that you have an idea of what each one does. And I'm reading from a list. I apologize. My brain just can't hold this kind of information anymore. Okay, so number one, guide dog, to assist the blind, of course, and navigate. So they don't walk into poles and trees and talk into the middle of the street or the ocean. You need a dog for their eyes. Hearing dog. These dogs assist by alerting to sounds like babies. They are fantastic for parents that may be deaf. Okay, for babies crying, for doorbells, fire alarms. Um, they are absolutely fabulous for stuff like that. They can even let you know if someone's walking through the house and you thought you were home alone. Like these dogs are fantastic with how well they're trained. Hi, Lucky Dog, how are you? Thank you for coming in. Okay, number three is the mobility assistance dog, which is part of what Stella is. Okay, she's to these dogs help by pushing buttons, like those big buttons you see on the doors for people with wheelchairs. I have not trained her for that, but they are great for that. Um, they can also be trained to pick things up for a person that may not have the best hand coordination, which I do not. Um, they can open doors. They can go in, open a fridge, grab a water for you, and bring it to you. But a lot of service dogs can do that. It all depends on each handler. I am not choosing to train her for that because I don't. I mean, I don't get up much anyways because of my back, so the least I can do is force myself to get up and get a drink. I don't need to force her. She does too much for me as it is. Diabetic alert dogs, also known as DADS, DADS. These amazing dogs will alert to dips and jumps in blood sugar before they get to the point where it's dangerous for their handlers. Because every diabetic's level is different. Every diabetic's reactions are different to different levels, as far as I know, anyways. Seizure alert dogs are unreal. Okay, these are some of the ones that I was telling you, compared to the seizure response dogs, which are not the same as seizure alert dogs. These dogs are trained to bark for help or to press an alarm that the person may have in those homes. You know those big red buttons that you can get, like for, the medical alert buttons. You can get ones that are about yay big with a big red button on top that the dogs can hit. And some of these dogs are actually trained to go and hit that button to get help once their owner has had a seizure. And they're fantastic for it. Sorry, rented tongue syndrome today. Okay, let's try this again. Psychiatric service dogs, or PTSD service dogs. These dogs help with issues like PTSD, anxiety, depression, or people who may be hyper vigilant, like with me. I can be hyper vigilant as to things that are going on around me, where even the slightest motion will make me jump. My husband has seen that more than once. There's something as small as a feather coming down will have me and freak out. So it does happen. There's also autism support dogs for kids or for adults. Okay, and these dogs are absolutely phenomenal. They can help provide a sense of predictability that a lot of autism people have issues with. I know my nephew has to have things very, very specific. One of mine, I have five of them on the spectrum to one degree or another. And the oldest one, sorry, itchy snaz, the oldest one has to have things where it has to be very, very specific in a very specific way, in a very set manner, or he gets a meltdown, or he'll have a freak out, panic attack, whatever you want to call it. So these dogs are fabulous at calming a person down in that situation because they do learn the person they're with very well and they learn their triggers. They can even actually take these people away from something that may be causing the trigger. Like if one person reacts to a certain color or smell and the dog smells or sees that, they can gently guide their person away from that area to help prevent an issue, which is perfect in that sense. Now, an FASD service dog. This was one that I did not know about. This is brand new to me, and I'm going to be researching on it much more because I think it's fantastic. These dogs, for people or children who were exposed to alcohol in the womb. I used to date nanny a young boy with fetal alcohol. And if a dog could do for him what I was unable to do, that would be such a blessing because he would have a life. He could be out in the world where he couldn't be before. Okay. Fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. These dogs help with mental difficulties as well as behavior issues. They can also be trained to interrupt repetitive behaviors. Most service dogs can. Like even Stella, she is also with one of my PTSD things is I will scratch. When I'm starting to get anxious, you'll see me and I'll just start scratching everywhere. She is also trained to stop me from doing that. Just like the fetal alcohol syndrome dogs can do that. They will distract a person from picking or pulling at their hair or picking their nails or biting their nails or picking their skin, which is fantastic. And that is absolutely wonderful. Allergy detection dog. Pretty self-explanatory, but a godsend. Because even Stella is going to be, after she has completed this final test, she will be trained to detect soy. because I am severely, I have a little bit of soy and I am power vomiting for 20 plus hours. And it's awful. So, same with peanut allergies, wheat allergies, any allergies. These dogs can be trained to detect them. So, if I go into a restaurant, say in a year's time, and she's gone through the soy training, I can go into a restaurant, have her smell my plate, maybe put her paw on my knee to let me know it's got soy or it doesn't have soy, so she won't put her paw on me. You see what I mean? Like they can be trained to alert before the handler has an issue. I mean, I've heard of people with a sensitivity so strong to seafood. There's one lady I've heard of that can't even smell shellfish or she'll go into anaphylactic shock. And her dog is actually being trained to smell that particular thing so that she can go into a restaurant and she can go into an activity. Hi, James and Melly, nice to see you. They can be trained to detect that particular allergen that could kill a person. So these allergy detection dogs, I think, have been vastly underused so far. But I think as service dogs become more popular and more prevalent, and it becomes easier to train them and easier to access them, because personally, I think 25,000 plus is freaking outrageous for a service dog. I understand it, but I think it's outrageous. Yeah, I think Stella will be very good at that. She's a very happy-go-lucky girl. But yeah, sorry, James and Melanie, the Go Hawks 2021 is my lovely husband, John. But yes, the allergy detection dogs and such, I think we're going to see more and more of them. Now, if you feel that you're interested in looking into getting a service dog, the absolute best advice I can give you is go to your doctor, speak to them. If they believe these dogs can help you in some way mitigate some degree of your medical conditions, mental or physical medical conditions, go in and ask. And if they think that these dogs can help you, get them to prescribe a service dog. That's your first step. Second step, find out your local laws and regulations as to service dogs and how to get them. Because I know in the USA they've got a lot of issues with fake registration, because in the USA they do not have registration for service dogs. Yet here in Canada, we do. I'll show you. We actually have a registration for a service dog. Now, I'm just going to, let's see. Yeah, there's no address on it, so I'll just show you. Okay, that just says that I am a service dog handler. Okay, it doesn't say that so-and-so is my service dog, because service dogs wash, they retire, they pass, all of that. So find out your local laws. Find out, look up online. Like I looked up types of service dogs, found it. Then I looked up in the areas like US, Canada, and UK, different service dog companies. You can get a lot of information from Google just from finding the names of the service dog companies around you. Okay, I fluked. When I got Stella, I fluked big time. Only God could have done this. And I'm dead serious. I had contacted every service dog place I could in North America that I could find at the time. This was 3 years ago. It wasn't even close to being the amount I found since. Okay, then my doctor at the time had said no, he didn't think service dogs were of any use. He'd only ever heard of seeing eye dogs. He had never heard of any other kind of service dog. So he would not prescribe it for me. So I turned around and I went to my medical marijuana doctor at the time, and he agreed it would help with my PTSD and other issues. So I got the prescription for a service dog. Now, I contacted every company I found online. Not one contacted me, but one did contact me. And it was for a PTSD service dog. And they turned around and said that they would only train service dogs for ex-military and ex-first responders. They will not train for anyone else. Well, most people I know with PTSD and other issues were never first responders, and none of them were in the military. So people don't seem to realize that, I've got complex PTSD because of my crappy childhood. I had nightmare childhood, which is so be it. It's overdone with it. It sucks. Can't do anything about it. But I've got issues because of it. And when I was looking around everywhere for service dogs, I even went on Facebook looking for service dog facilities. Well, I shockingly, this is why I'm saying God's hand was in it, because shockingly, I found the company I went through. He's less than 10 minutes from my home. And I never even knew it existed. So, yeah, exactly, a medical marijuana thing. Yes, what they should do seriously is make it easier for people to access trainers to get help. They need to make it less freaking expensive, because my husband kindly came out of retirement. He was retired for over a year, and he came out of retirement for 2 years to pay for Stella. And I can never in my entire life, every second on this planet, I could never thank him enough. Because the difference she has made for me in feeling more like my old self, wanting to go out and be in the world, wanting to go on a trip, wanting to see people again, is the biggest gift I could have ever gotten. This is my Gosha. This is my beautiful Gosha girl. She is almost 10 years old. She's the only black and white dog I've ever had. But she's a sweetie. She's turned out to actually learn a lot of Stella's alerts and tricks from Stella and from watching me train Stella. Stella's gone out of the room. Sorry, I was just going to call her and she bolted. I guess my husband went out the door or something because she ran out. Come here, Stella. Come here. And this is Stella, as you know. Hello, baby. Okay, thank you. Lay down. 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 Now. Thank you. She's very full of piss and vinegar daily. But the difference that she's made in my life, in being able to calm me down, being able to make me not feel so, what's the word I'm looking for? So lost, I guess, in some situations. I mean, my husband and I, yes, we used to go for a cruise once or twice a year. We'd go up island or up to Alaska or somewhere like that, or to the Caribbean, wherever. We would go on probably a week-long trip at least once a year. And since my dad passed, I haven't.
Anxious.
Yes, when I'm anxious. She does very well for that. Sorry, my husband just came through the door and said anxious. But she works, that's the word I was looking for. Sorry, guys. This slide is a bit messy. I'm sorry. It's my first. But my best advice, honestly, if you think one of these wonderful four-legged creatures could help you, contact your doctor, get him to prescribe it. Psychiatrists, psychotherapists, any of those people, family doctors, most of them know a lot about service dogs. Most of them. And most of them, if they think a dog could help you, they're more than willing to say yes. And they'll give you a note. And down in the USA, all you need is a letter from your doctor saying, yes, a service dog could benefit so and so. And sign their name to it. And you can go out, get a dog, get a trainer, and train that dog to your own personal needs, because everybody's needs. My needs are different from my husband's needs. My husband's needs are different from my son's needs. My son's needs are different from Mima's or from James and Millie. Everybody's needs medically are different. Everybody's medical issues react differently. My husband's heart condition is different than Tom's heart condition or Jim's heart condition or June's heart condition. So these dogs can be taught, even the ones that don't do it naturally, they can be taught to listen to heart rhythm. They can learn when a heart rhythm is not right and to let that person know to take a medication at that moment to get their heart rhythm back. That could save a crap ton of people from heart attacks and strokes. Well, I don't know about strokes because that's more in the brain. But they could help a lot of people, like my late father used to take nitrous under his tongue when his heart would start palpitating. Well, if a service dog could help bring you that medication, for one, if you're not doing well, they can bring you your medication. For two, they can let you know to take the medication before you feel so crappy you can't go and get it. So if you've got heart condition, if you've got migraines, if you've got POTS, if you've got EDS, even if you've got pretty much any medical condition that you think a service dog may be able to give you some degree of normalcy again, I've got a little thing that I put in one of her vests, a little pill container that's got one dose of my medication, and I keep it in her vest. So that if I am out and I'm not close to my purse, all I have to do is call her and get that medication. So something as simple as reminding you to take medications, listening for heart rate, listening for whether they listen to your blood coursing, whether they listen or smell some pheromone that our bodies let off for different medical conditions. These dogs can be trained for pretty much anything, in my opinion. They could even be trained probably to teach, like to get a person as to when they need. I mean, I've heard of dogs detecting cancer. So if a dog can detect cancer, why shouldn't more of them be trained to work better than any x-ray machine ever known to man? Okay, so these dogs can be trained for unimaginable amounts of medical conditions. So if you think a dog could help you, first advice, talk to your doctor, talk to your spouse, talk to your parent, talk to your partner, talk to all of them. If more than half of them think it can make a difference, seriously look into it and contact any of your local service dog companies, even if it's just via email. They may not be able to help you, but they may be able to lead you on the route to the people that could. The main reason I went service dog is a friend of mine in the UK who I met, believe it or not, probably close to a decade ago up in Alaska on a cruise ship. She has a service dog for her fibromyalgia, which I also suffer from. I got conditions up the yin yang, but I thought that with what she told me her service dog does for her with the deep pressure therapy and the laying up against a sore, like when your muscles hurt from fibromyalgia, it is all over from head to toe. And if you can have a dog lay down next to you without hurting you, but that warmth give you some benefit, why the heck not? Like, truly, why not? It's better than, just in the years I've had Stella, to agree with me or not, hun, honestly, okay? Like when you type down on your screen, say yes or no, and I won't take offense either way. Would you say Stella has prevented multiple emergency room visits or just a couple? This is just from my anxiety and such alone. Oh, yeah, they can. Meanwhile, these dogs are phenomenal with what they can be taught to do. They're better at knowing when you should take medications. They're better at making sure that you do what you need to do to stay healthy. For one, they get you off your butts and out in the world because you've got to do stuff with them, whether you are mentally able to or not. Like, there are days, like yesterday, I hadn't slept since 3 o'clock the morning before. Like, not yesterday morning, but the morning before. I woke up at 3 a.m. and I'd been up until like 7 o'clock last night. And when you're that tired, you're not thinking straight. Like, you're really not. But I made my husband take me into town just to get Stella out for a half hour because she goes stir crazy. She likes to be out in the world with me, but since this nice little fancy little bug has attacked this entire freaking planet, it has calmed down a lot, so I'm not out as much. But I forced myself to go out yesterday. And that's another thing that these dogs do. They make their handlers still see me. Sorry about that. I had a phone call come through. That's really annoying. But she forces me, even on the days that I am in so much pain I can't function, to still make myself get out and move. And so, in a lot of ways, with the hearing, the seeing, the alerting, the deep pressure therapy, the picking things up, the medication reminders, the going to get help. Like when I passed out last weekend, my husband was there And I think I called for Stella. Stella just walked right by because she knew my husband was there, so she didn't feel the need to take care of me because I was being taken care of. But if I'm alone, you best believe she's going to be right next to me and won't move because she's always with me when I'm by myself. She's never out of the room. She doesn't like to go away from me. Oh, yeah, it was a phone ring. Somebody tried to call. Sorry, my husband said I went off for a split second there. Sorry about that. How many panic attacks has she de-escalated? Oh dear God. That's a good question, hon. I'd honestly have to really think about it because I would say a good 50 plus at least that she has got to me before it's starting to get to the point where you're panicked, like where you're hyperventilating and sweating and closing in on yourself, so to speak, that anxiety can sometimes do to you. She's probably de-escalated at least 50 plus. I would have to say at least that. Yeah, the 11 hours plus is pretty typical, which is pretty sad here. Oh dear God, that's insanity, you know. That is insane. I don't understand how they can charge that kind of money for medical help. I just don't. I'm sorry. I will never understand it because they are causing people who are just trying to survive basically to end up on the streets, homeless, not being able to feed themselves just so that they can live. What kind of a life is that? I mean, it's double-edged sword in my opinion. Sorry, I'm just reading here for a quick second. Yeah, I didn't call for my husband. I called for my dog. Just when I fell and passed out. Sorry, babe. Wow, that is just absurd. I'm sorry, Mima. I will never understand that kind of, in my opinion, financial abuse that doctors and hospitals are able to do. I get that it's expensive to make these new medications and these tests and stuff, but making it so utterly unaffordable, personally, I find is completely wrong. No matter where you are in the world, it's wrong. Thanks, Mima. That was a good one. I like that. But yeah, so my best advice, honestly, is if any of you feel that one of your dogs already is in a lot of ways a service dog to you, find out what it would take to have them completely turn into your service dog. Because if you truly feel that a service dog could help you, I'm sure they could. Because you know yourself better than any doctor or anybody else on this planet. You know your body, you know your needs, and you know what could help better than anyone else.
I want to wind it down.
Yeah. I am going to go and thank you guys for coming. I so appreciate it. Hopefully I'll be able to do this again at some point. Any advice you may have or any suggestions on doing it better next time, I'm up for any of it. And I thank you guys. God bless and have a great night. I hope I answered some questions. And if you have any more, just message me. I will answer them as soon as I can, okay? Take care. God bless.